Man, this is a crazy day. After almost 40 years, we are going to see He-Man on the big screen and the trailer looks epic. I am fanboying hard, and that singular teaser has so much to unpack that it is driving me nuts. Let me share all that with you.
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
The first revelation that struck me came early. Skeletor actually has blue skin, not just blue makeup. I'd heard whispers about this, but seeing it in the teaser made my heart race. During the behind-the-scenes footage shown at CinemaCon, the filmmakers deliberately revealed that this isn't some modern Hollywood attempt to ground the character, it's genuine blue skin. This means Travis Knight isn't deviating from the cartoon aesthetic. He's embracing it. I'd prepared myself for a compromise where they'd make Skeletor realistic with pale white skin, but instead, they've leaned into the fantasy elements. Examining the sweeping landscape shots, something struck me as oddly intimate. Castle Grayskull isn't hidden away in some distant realm. It's practically visible from Eterno's palace walls. This proximity initially bothered me. Shouldn't the sorceress's fortress be more remote and mysterious? Then it clicked. This proximity is intentional world building. Eternos was likely built around or near Castle Grayskull centuries ago, and the castle was subsequently abandoned for precisely these reasons. The fact that they're within sight of each other suggests a darker history for Eternia that the film is setting up. I had to rewind multiple times to catch Sorceress. During the chaos of Skeletor's assault on Eternos, there's a brief moment where the Sorceress appears, helping Queen Marina and young Prince Adam escape to safety. Filmmakers are clearly saving her big reveal for later trailers or the film itself. She's glowing, ethereal, and absolutely magnificent, with white robes and hints of blue and yellow trim. One of the most touching moments I discovered involves a brief shot of young Prince Adam surrounded by drawings. What struck me, it's what he's drawn. Swords everywhere. The filmmakers are establishing that even as a child separated from his true home, Adam is subconsciously drawn to the very thing that will define him. He doesn't know why he's obsessed with swords in Eternia, but his dreams constantly pull him back. Now listen to this detail because it absolutely delighted me because it's such a meta commentary on fandom. Adult Adam, working in some corporate office on Earth, doesn't just have passing memories of Eternia, he actively collects Masters of the Universe action figures. He's got a shelf in his apartment. His computer screensaver appears to be Filmation inspired, and he's clearly been searching for the sword online constantly. His HR boss even reprimands him for his obsession with this stupid sword. Like everyone who grew up with these toys, we are Adam in many ways. Torek was holding the sword of the He-Man in the shop. Torek is a primordial barbarian-style warrior who served as one of the original creative concepts for He-Man, designed by Mark Taylor in the late 1970s. He is considered the aesthetic father or prototype for the Masters of the Universe line, representing a hero of prehistory before the finalized concept of He-Man and Prince Adam was established. For those not familiar, Mark Taylor is the father and creator of He-Man. The fact that they've created a new character whose design honours Mark Taylor and included him in this pivotal Toy Story scene felt like a memorial to a legendary figure in MOTU history. Hidden among the background toys in the shop, I caught a glimpse of what appears to be a Lion-O, the Thundercats leader. Now, this might seem like just another random Toy Story Easter egg, but it's significant. Mattel has recently acquired the Thundercats license. It's a signal that the MOTU universe might actually eventually expand to include other franchises, or it's simply showing the interconnected toy culture of this world. I found myself excited about the possibilities this one small detail opens up. There's also an entire display dedicated to Big Jim action figures, and I mean entire. You can see Big Jim in a sports camper, Big Jim's Jeep, All-Star Big Jim, and various other vintage iterations. These appear to be authentic vintage-style boxes, meticulously recreated for production. The host confirmed that these were probably remade specifically for the film, which is the kind of production-level detail that makes me believe Travis Knight truly understands this property. I had been prepared for complaints about Cringer not being entirely green, but I realised the design choice is actually quite thoughtful. Cringer has white fur on his belly and a lighter mane, which is a zoologically accurate choice for a realistic tiger. We have heard before that the filmmakers consulted with zoologists about how a real tiger's colouring would appear, because they can't fuck up the battle cat. In later scenes where Cringer is lit differently, inside Castle Grayskull, his green colouring appears much darker and more vibrant. This gave me relief. One of my favourite revelations came when examining the castle's architecture. Castle Grayskull appears to have organic tentacle-like appendages extending from his sides, similar to the Filmation design. More importantly, the castle wraps around the mountainside like a living thing, with what looked like vertebrae or skeletal structures visible. There's even a discussion about whether the massive skull at the top is actually King Grayskull's skull, a literal monument made from the founder himself. This suggests a darker, more mystical origin story for the castle than I'd anticipated, and it adds a genuinely eerie quality to what should be the hero's safe haven. During the defense of Eternos, I observed that the guards aren't just swinging swords, They're carrying halberds and axes that are directly inspired by the Mattel toy designs. I even identified a specific halberd used by Roboto in the original figure line. One of the most significant world-building elements I discovered involves the portal technology. Instead of magic, the Talon fighters use technology to open portals and transport between worlds. It felt very Thor Ragnarok with a Bifrost-like aesthetic. This is crucial because it establishes that Eternia's technology and magic are intertwined. Technology isn't replacing magic, it's enhancing it. This suggests the film's exploring a universe where the line between technology and sorcery is beautifully blurred, which is between them in He-Man universe. On looking closely at the transformation sequence, it feels like Mondo, the statue and collectible company, has heavily inspired He-Man's costume design. The Roman-inspired sash, the gauntlets, the leather boots, all of these match the aesthetic of Mondo's first He-Man collector figure. This costume feels both timeless and modern simultaneously. The iconic cross symbol in He-Man's chest has been designed with proper proportions and detail that suggest it might even have cordite plates, reinforced metal sections. The rendering of this symbol is so exact that it appears this wasn't done casually. It felt like the trailer's opening narrator might be Dolph Lundgren. I felt chills run through my body. Dolph Lundgren played He-Man in the 1987 film, a production that many fans feel didn't fully capture the spirit of the property. Now, nearly 40 years later, Lundgren might be returning to provide the voice that guides us into this new, superior version of the He-Man universe. Skeletor's facial expressions throughout the trailer. I noticed something that his red eyes aren't static. They intensify and grow larger as his anger increases. A calm Skeletor has relatively small crimson pupils. An enraged Skeletor has blazing, enormous eyes that dominate his skull's features and suggest explosive power barely contained. Power Sword as it appears in the toy store display case. I noticed something extraordinary about its physical properties. The blade isn't rendered as solid metal. Instead, it appears translucent, as if partially existing in another dimensional plane. There's an internal glow suggesting the sword contains some kind of energy or magical essence within its structure. The host described it as appearing almost like it glows, suggesting the sword might be generating its own light rather than simply reflecting external sources. Roboto, traditionally presented as male and designed as a bulky mechanical warrior, is now female presenting and significantly more humanoid. The design shows a curved silhouette and what the host described as a very top-heavy construction, suggesting a feminine physique emphasized through the android design. The casting of Kristen Wiig to voice his character. I really loved Beastman's movement. Rather than walking upright like other humanoid villains, Beastman moves on all fours, running like an actual animal. This design choice noting makes Beastman far more intimidating and authentically beast-like than a humanoid design would allow. My only gripe is that it feels like he's going to be all CGI. They could have done something like Hellboy design, where Ron Perlman played a giant devil in a completely practical costume. I know it's hard, but it's Sony money, man. They could have gotten Jim Henson's company to work on this. When we see Duncan at what appears to be the film's middle to later time frame, he's sporting a full, heavy beard that looks weathered and lived in. This is a visual shorthand for significant time has passed. This weathered, bearded Duncan isn't the same clean-shaven warrior we might see in Eternia's golden age. He's a survivor, a resistance fighter who has endured years of hardship while maintaining the rebellion against Skeletor's rule. Masters of the Universe lives on vehicle and playsets. The trailer leans into that, and the host rewarded with obsessive attention. Rotons appear in aerial swarm. The Fright Fighter is identified by profile. One can also point out a larger craft they label the Collector, based on its distinctive silhouette and window layout. Their enthusiasm is basically a sign that the film is not shaving off the toyetic edges, it is using them as a spectacle. They also notice enemy trip armour that resembles rib cages and skeleton motifs. They joke about names, but the point is visual identity. Skeletor's army is not generic extras in black armour, it has a coherent skeletal design, language that will read instantly. The villain reveals that the most important test for fans because these are the characters Hollywood usually fixes. The trailer answers by showing them straight. Trapjaw appears briefly, but the essentials are there. Blue skin, mechanical jaw, hook arm attachment, helmet spikes. We want more gear variety, but they are thrilled. The core design survived. Beastman gets a kinetic moment, slamming into a police cruiser on Earth and moving on all fours like an animal. I love the spikes, the fur texture, and the brute energy. They want a clean, upright shot, but they already see enough to believe the movie is treating Beastman as a real threat. Evil Lynn's close-up earns instant praise. Platinum hair, cape, a look at that hints at 200x style while staying recognisable. We hope to see more classic colour pop, yet they appreciate she reads as a sorceress, not a generic modern villain. Spike Ore is the deep cut shock. We did not expect him to show up at all, and they are impressed by the makeup texture. Less peg-like than the toy, but still monstrous and distinct. They also credit the practical effect vibe because for this franchise, practical monsters matter. They ground the fantasy. Even Goatman is in this movie, bro. If he is in there, nothing is really off the limits. He-Man does look similar to what I really wanted him to be. I always imagined Arnold to be the perfect He-Man body type. Here, the actor looks too damn skinny even after the conversion. Where's the bulk? But let me also point out that motion changes perception. A moving fighter will read slimmer than a posed figure, and the actor appears genuinely trained and physically defined. He is also doing pretty intense and good-looking sword fight with a Skeletor. So yeah, not everything is grim. The trailer teases Snake Mountain with a mouth like fangs and cavernous darkness. I love the scale and the horror vibe. I also spot a serpent imagery in the background of other scenes, suggesting potential Snake Man seeding if sequels happen. This matters because Masters of the Universe is a world that can expand endlessly if the first film sticks the landing. He-Man swings, then stops short, using the sword to knock enemies back instead of slicing through them. It feels consistent with a franchise that historically balanced action and all ages of energy. See, a trailer cannot guarantee a good movie, but it can show intent, and through the eyes of a die-hard fan like myself, the intent is clear. This film wants to be Masters of the Universe at full volume. It embraces the weird fusion of the barbarian fantasy and sci-fi tech. It even embraces deep-cut villains that most studios would cut to protect the tone. Instead, the trailer says the tone is the weirdness. For fandom that has waited decades to see Eternian treated as worthy of big-screen spectacle, that is the real power of the trailer. It does not ask fans to compromise. It invites them back to a world they never stopped carrying. May look cringy to the new audience, but for the fans, it is everything that we wanted. Let's see what happens on June the 5th when the movie makes its big screen appearance for the world to watch. This is where we stop this video, and if you liked what you saw here, don't forget to like, share and sub to us. We will be doing some more great He-Man stuff. Don't forget to tune back into Lore Lockdown.